capital or that. But how do you measure the strength of an individual? See, the materials are all having the uniform characteristics. If you take a steel, they will be having the same characteristics. But my human being, they are very different. Human being is as a material is not only a difficult material but an exciting material because each one is different. No two persons are alike, and we have to build with that material and function in the environment of India with the material of India. It is important that engineers advance to become better men and women. But this view is only we initiated the formation of IITs, the cornerstones of engineering education in Indian context. So the task of the engineering college and technical institution is to mold an exciting human material that can help and develop the people. This is what the main purpose of engineering colleges and technical institutions is. And I know there are quite a few school teachers are also participating in this program. You can tell the importance of technical educations to the students based on this. In the words of late Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, creative universities are bedrock of every developed nations and science and technology strategy. Therefore, our college and institutes must act as a cornerstone for ethically build the industrial, scientific, and managerial and technological edifice of the nation with a value-based approach. Whatever we do, that value of our nation, value of our society, we should keep in mind. Anything developed which goes against the values of our nation is definitely not going to help us, it's only going to harm us. That's why the task of engineering colleges and technical institutions is to mold an exciting human material that can help develop the people. I am repeating the statement once again. What is the role of the engineers in nation building? Higher education at the present time is thus expected to nurture the knowledge power for growth of wealth and nation building. Nation building can be done only through engineers. See, if you take the different professions, a doctor wants the society to be sick. Lawyer wants the society to have conflicts. And only the engineers want the nation to prosper for his own good. So, always engineers are the builders of the nation. The true strength of a nation resides in the human capital, that is engineering and managerial workforce. It is this designing role, engineers play the role of a creator combining imaginative creativity and inspiration. And over the years, what happened is engineering has become a sort of learning something which is there in the textbook and reproducing and getting some marks. In this process only, the so-called employability of the engineers are getting lost. Employability, see, whatever you learn, what you study, you should understand what it is and what for it is applicable. That innate things has to be imbibed to the students by the faculty who teach those subjects. So that is very important in engineering education. These well-trained technocrats only become intrinsically well-coded for serving the act of nation building. I hope that many of you would consider that engineering as a profession involves a healthy interplay of design, development, and delivery. A profession transcends beyond the boundaries of time and hence ideally suits to serve the purpose of nation building. So engineers are the main builders of the nation building. So no matter whatever career path you choose further to walk upon, these innate technical skills in you will inherently become the foundational blocks of thinking and implementation for execution of the task. You know, those who know Sujata, the so-called Rangarajan, the famous writer in Tamil literature, has brought in so much of complicated scientific things into his novels. Even the common people can easily understand them, especially the hologram in one of the novels he explains about that. And as his true nature, finally he tells, I do not understand what you said. It looks like I understood, but I don't understand. Complex things are only like that. You feel like I understood it, but you need a little more deep understanding to know what it is. The true strength of a nation resides in human capacity, human capital, especially in engineering and managerial workforce. Engineers and managers will develop the new processes and products and will effectively create and manage new systems for civil infrastructure, manufacturing, healthcare delivery, information management, computer communication, and so forth. So all these things are built by engineers. So how can teachers help students in making them best out of the college life? So teachers, especially in the colleges, deal with students, those who are coming out of their cocoon from their parents' care. So this is a very, very crucial age for the students when they enter the colleges. So teachers are always the respected people in the society because of the role what they play. They produce the best students uh, for the country, especially during college period. Students is transforming from adolescent to adult, and there are many changes in body and mind. This period is very vital in the role, plays a very vital role in every human beings. So this is the age in which we, the teachers, are in contact with the students, and we have to help them properly. As a teacher, instead of preaching, practicing what we preach will give a long-lasting impact on students' mind. For example, if you say that you should have good habits, but if you smoke in front of them, then whatever you say, even the good things what you say is not going to side with them. A teacher can be a guru while teaching, friend while guiding, and parent while self-leading. So this being a friend is a very, very important aspect in the students, what teachers play with the students. In the classroom, you are the guru, you are teaching him. Outside the classroom, you are his friend. Sometimes you play with him, you have some interact with him on different issues. And in the process, as a teacher is also learning something from the student. And also, when they have some trouble, if you are having friend, if you are friendly with the student, they will come to you for help. You can offer your counseling to them whenever they are in trouble. The learning activity is not bounded by any time, and the requirement of knowledge is also not stationary. This is one important aspect, especially in engineering education. In engineering colleges, you teach the students to learn lifelong, because what is today will become obsolete tomorrow. So you have to be always up to date. Unless you are up to date, whatever you preach in the classes are all old textbooks, which cannot carry water. After all said and done, the basics are very important. Basics will not change. So they have to be taught well about the basics, because basics are the building blocks from which whatever you do are being built. And they should be learned, practice to learn quick learning and adaptable, because adaptation is the call of the duty of today's environment. You have to adapt to the changing world. As we have seen especially in the computer world, computation world, what is today will become obsolete tomorrow. You have to be on the toe, learning the new techniques, whenever it is coming up, you have to learn it immediately. The teacher leader lead within and beyond the classroom. If a teacher, if he wants to be a leader, he has to behave like that even outside the classroom also. He has to identify with with and contribute to teacher, learners, and leaders community. Influence others towards improved educational practices. As a teacher leader, you have to take along your colleagues with you in doing better teaching and better counseling of the students. You have to accept responsibility for achieving the outcome of their leadership. And unless you accept the responsibility, you cannot be a leader. A leader first has to accept responsibility and act accordingly. As a leader, you should deal with the process. First of all, what is the process? Any institution has got their own processes. Uh, Nowadays, many of the institutions are becoming autonomous. When you become autonomous, you have your own process of evaluating, delivering the lessons and evaluating the students. The evaluation process is very, very important. That has to be consistent and that has to be followed by all the people. And effective group processing skills. A good department is one where the faculty will have frequent group meetings and exchange ideas. You cannot expect a single faculty to know all the facts. This type of group meetings will definitely enhance the knowledge level of the entire department. And when we go further, it has to be done at the institution level also. Clear understanding of organizational diagnosis and of the big picture issues in the organization. What is your organization after? Is it NIRF ranking? Is it for going for MBA or NAC accreditation? What is the role? What is it you need? What is the big picture of your organization? Are you going to attract foreign students? That's what the organization's idea. Or is it that you want to have full admission for the students? Or is it that you want to have 100% placement for the students? Or are you going to make them the best citizens possible? These organization goals has to be clearly understood. Ability to assess, interpret, and prioritize department and teacher needs and concerns. You have to assess what is the need of your colleagues. And another important thing is, as a teacher, you should prioritize what is to be done when. That prioritization is very, very important. A teacher who lead take risk by expanding their own comfort zones. You cannot be teaching what you learned, what you start about 10 years or 20 years back, even now. You have to be updating yourself quite often. You have to come out of your comfort zone. You have to learn. As I told you, education is not bound by your degree. You have to learn lifelong. Become inquirers into their own practices. You always have to do some self-assessment, whether your teaching methodology is correct, the way you are dealing with the students, is it correct, is it appropriate, or is need any changes. That type of looking into you quite often should take place. Work hard expanding their own knowledge base. You have to always keep yourself up to date in the knowledge level. Care about the content and character of the colleagueship as well as the content of the curriculum. Most of the autonomous institutions are they can develop the curriculum of their own and delivery. Some institutions they are given the freedom to the faculty to have the content of their syllabus what they want. It's a very really good one, and if you are using it properly, your students will be benefiting. Providing leadership through their example of becoming lifelong learners. As I told you, engineering is about lifelong learning. What is leadership? The art or process of influencing people so as to achieve their goals willingly and enthusiastically. One thing you have to keep in mind is, especially in this learner community of educational institutions, You cannot force anybody to do something what they are against. You have to only understand their listen to them empathetically, understand their problems, and make them realize what is good for them, what is good for the institution, and so that they participate in the growth of the institution enthusiastically. Influencing people to do the task with the standard and quality above their norm. You set some standard, make people also to set their own standard above their capability. Only if we set a higher standard, you will improve. Otherwise, you will be doing only what you have been doing all along. Behavioral accomplishments. And your behavior is very, very important inside the classroom and when you deal with your colleagues always. There are different types of leadership styles. You encourage your the people with you, or you by values in them, or you say that this is what the vision of our institution. For that, we have to work together. And the best part is you have to empower the people with you. Delegation is very, very important in leadership. And the type of leadership depends on the type of situation. It is not same type of leadership you can think of all the places. Excellent leadership is know how to use the correct leadership style for a given situation. Help individuals recognize and maximize their full potential as team members. This is very, very important in the leadership skills. You have to recognize the special aspects of each individual, and you have to maximize their strength. At the same time, learn them, make them learn to come out of their weaknesses. And when they maximize their strength, individuals maximize their strength, the system maximizes its strength. Energize and engage people by helping them create a meaningful sense of purpose and direction in their work. So basically, this can be told in Tirukural on couplet. இதனை இதனால் இவன் முடிப்பான் என்றாய்ந்து அதனை அவன் கண்விடன். You have to understand this work can be done best by a particular person. Choose that person and ask him to do it. It is the very, very important aspect of leadership. Leadership is about seeing possibilities. What are all the possible ways are there? You have to see it differently. You cannot have a narrow view. You have to have different views about the same problem. And you have to listen to people. People will be who are interacting can see it differently than you, and they will be telling you. If you encourage them to talk freely, they will tell those views to you, and with that you can develop the possibilities of solving the problems. That is the best leadership. And you may not be knowing all the things, but the colleague with you, the people whom you are leading may be knowing something. Unless you encourage them to talk freely, you will not get their ideas. You have to tap the ideas of all the people and choose the best possible among them and then implement. So as a leadership, you have to always seeking for new strategies. As we go further and further, the strategies are also will be playing very important role in achieving it. And then the new challenge what we are facing now is the new education policy that is to be implemented, which calls for amalgamation of so many things together. We have to really work hard to implement all the policies of new education policies. One important thing for a leadership is communication. The communication has to be sharp. It has to be apt. I don't say sharp. It has to be apt. You cannot be blah blahing all the time and then ask. think that the other person will understand that. You have to be crisp in your communication, but at the same time, you have to convey whatever you want to convey to them properly. And one of the old professor, Dr. CRK, used to tell is cell phones and telephones are meant for communication, not for conversation. So with your team people, you have to communicate very effectively. In leadership, you have to set directions. You have to, when you are working, there will be some results that good results and bad results. You have to balance them, and you have to process those results, and with that relationships will come. And based on that, you have to share an inspiring vision to set the directions. And you have to inspire commitment by practicing appropriate maximum involvement, create pathway to action, and facilitate agreement. See, especially in this learned community, there will be a lot of disagreements will be there. Always you have to have some sort of brainstorming and get all the ideas, and finally you can thrash out something to which agree upon to work on it. There may be difference of opinion. Finally, when if you are a good leader, you have to make them understand what is the goal of the organization, and to that we have to work. For that, the agreement has to be reached. You have to build capacity. When you take persons, you have to take persons with good attitude and aptitude, and with them you have to build the capacity of your organization. And one of the important thing is celebrate accomplishments. Whatever small achievements what you have, it is better you have to celebrate with all the other people with you. That celebration will definitely give a lot of enthusiasm to them to work harder. What are the skills of good leaders? Strategic thinking, developing a vision of where you want to be, planning and delivery. After the strategizing, you have to plan how to deliver whatever you have planned it. And the people management in this one, this people management is a very, very important aspect because you are working with people. And another important thing is change management. As you go along, you need to make some changes in your planning. Those management has to be those changes has to be managed and properly documented and communicated. And communication is very important with doing all these things. You will be day in and day out communicating with all the people involved. Persuasion and influence. Some of the things, the core issues that you want your organization to be. And as you go along, they say that naysayers will be there. They will say that it is not possible. Then you have to persuade them and influence them to follow it. And now I give you a small case study as how NIT Puducherry is coming up. See this building? This is the composite engineering block we are planning for our institution, NIT Puducherry. When there is diversion taking place in all the other institutions like lectural complexes, faculty complexes, laboratory complexes, like that, what we wanted to have is all the things together. So here you see a pentagon. The side of the pentagon is around 90 meters, it's more than 100 feet. And this totally around 30,000 to 32,000 square meters built area. That is around 3,25,000 square feet. This is the engineering block that we are planning for NIT Puducherry. Each wing is a department. There are 5 departments in it. This is the mechanical department, civil department, electrical, PC department, and this is the computer science department. Okay, these are the 5 departments over here. It is a G+3 construction. And to arrive at this, we had a lot of discussion, and finally when they said that we will have some sort of a pentagon, immediately people thought on it, and we discussed with the architect of CPW. She was also impressed, and after a lot of deliberations, we arrived at this type of structure for our composite engineering block. This is the front view of the building. And whatever building you go, the entrance will give you the massiveness of the building. This is a G plus with 3 floors height entrance. The architect is planned for this. Okay, this is the side view, corner view of the building. In front of it, we have a small water bodies also planned in this. So I told you, triple height portico. And we wanted to have some free space for the students to interact. So when you have a pentagon, you have 5 corners. All the 5 corners, we have this type of a pavilion being implemented in this building. So that, later when we conduct any cultural programs or technical programs, this space is going to play a vital role for the students to join together and conduct events. And this is another thing, the indoor stadium that we are planning, which is indoor stadium. It's not only for sports, it's a composite indoor stadium, which will be having all the student activities in it, like gym, your yoga hall, your dance hall, your indoor sports like badminton, basketball, volleyball, table tennis, and also another important thing is we have some dormitory also planned here. When we conduct tournaments outside, people to stay. Dormitory is also planned in this, and some viewing gallery. Along with that, NSS, NCC offices, and the sports office, everything is being planned in this. This is what coming up in front of our administrative building. And when we planned about the outdoor games, see. Our physical director said he wants a long strip to be provided to him so that he will plan the grounds. So, however, you will see this is 650 meters long and 140 meters width. We have all the grounds arranged in a single place, and and at the side of it, the open auditorium is also planned over here. When it comes up by next year, it will come probably when we conduct in-house programs next time. Go and visit, and you can see all these things. When it comes up, we will be the only institution to have such a good, beautiful outdoor sports field available in our institution, in an institution. So these are the things which a single man cannot achieve. And if you have a fixed mindset, you cannot achieve this. Only thing is you have to be open to discussion, open to criticism especially. Then only you can achieve this. Because when you formulate one idea, it will be thought over by many people. So many ideas will be coming up. And based on that, finally you arrive at some of this type of final arrangement will come. Probably we will be shifting this handball court over here so that we'll have more space over here. Some other games can be planned over here because this one spot we are having without any use over here. So, what are the people management skills? As a leader, you have to manage the people. For that, you should have confidence in you. Unless you have confidence, you cannot manage the people who are working with you. See, this confidence is something make the people who are working with you to believe you to follow and to follow you. A leader needs to have followers. Unless you have confidence in what you say, others may not be willing to follow you. They may not be confident enough to accept your views to follow you. So you should have a confidence in you so that you can imbibe confidence on your followers. Ability to relate and listen. This listening is very, very important for a follower, for a leader. Unless you listen to others, listen empathetically, with empathy, you cannot carry a team with you. Listening is very, very important. Unless you listen, you will not get the other point of view for whatever. See, anything you take, there are about different points of views are will be there. So you have to collect all those points of view. Then you can think about those things. Probably you can draw a mind map on that, and based on that, you can arrive at the appropriate solution for your problem on that. And for that, you should have an open mind. You should not think whatever you decided about a problem initially, that is the correct one. Nobody can change that. That type of mindset is not at all conducive for a leader. You should have an open mind to accept alternative points of views as well as criticisms. And to that, you need to have a honesty. Unless you have honesty, you will not accept others other point of view. The honesty is very, very important. Unless you have honesty, the people behind you will not believe you that you will deliver the things. You have to have a honesty of accepting your failure as well as success. You have the honesty to give only the appropriate promises to the people working with you. And also, just having these qualities is not sufficient. You should have some problem solving skills. Wherever organization you work, the problems associated with that and the solutions what you can arrive at, those type of characteristics should be there with you. Otherwise, you cannot be just a leader. And you have to have accountability. This accountability is not only for you. You should imbibe this accountability to the people working with you also. Whenever you delegate power, you delegate power along with accountability. See, when I took over here, the students first, when I had a meeting with the students on the very first day, they wanted first thing what they raised was they wanted to have a students council. I said yes, you should have a students council. At least I can manage the students better through students council. That's what my idea of having the students council is, because through students council, all the students are accountable to the institute. Otherwise, they will be behaving individually, separately, and it cannot be managed. Accountability comes when they have their own council. So they are answerable to the council members, and the council members are answerable to us. And not only that, through this students council, they can express their views effectively to the administration. That is how we have the students council. And whenever we have the functions, I used to tell them, enjoy with responsibility. And that has become the keyword for my students over here. Whenever they say, before I telling that statement, the students used to tell, sir, we will enjoy with responsibility. That means you enjoy, but the enjoyment has got certain limits. That limit has to be there, and that responsibility of keeping things in order, that also should be there. And another thing is approachability. You cannot sit on an ivory tower and expect people to follow you. You have to be approachable to the people who are working with you. And I don't say under you. Everybody is working with you, they are not working under you. That is how the mentality you should develop. You are not the boss, you are the co-worker, and you are carrying them together. That's because of your position, you are guiding them. That's what the things that you have to take. Approachability is very, very important trait for a leader. And you should know how to organize. This is very, very important aspect of a leadership skill. Certain people will be having certain type of characteristics in them. They are good for doing some sort of tasks. And you have to identify those traits in each and every individual working under you. Based on the traits, you have to give the responsibilities to them. That is very, very important. That's what the organization is. In your organization, you divide the responsibility based on their strengths. And to achieve all these things, you should have a good communication. Your communication has to be crisp. It has to be it should be unequivocal, and whatever you want to say, that has to be dealt with properly. For example, right from beginning, if you say that what you say that you will be doing it, even if you want to take somebody to task, you need not to shout. Just make it as a statement. They understand. Make a statement that you will act on that. If they understand that, whatever you tell, that they will understand. This is what has to be done. No. And the flexibility and the ability to adapt. And you cannot be rigid as a leader in people management. You have to be flexible. And based on the situations, you have to adapt to the situation. These are all the main important skills needed for people management for a leader. A pyramid of leadership competency. At the base, you have core competencies. That is, you are leading a team. What is the core requirement for that organization? You should have. It's the communication, teamwork, creative problem solving, interpersonal skills, manage client relationship, self-direction, flexibility, professionalism, financial and business acumen. These are all the core competencies a leader should have. We have seen all these things in detail so far. And then leadership competencies. You should have the leadership abilities. You have to have the vision for the process. You have to create a team and lead it. You have to assess situations quickly and accurately. And you have to foster confidence. You have to foster conflict resolutions. See, in an organization, wherever you are, there will be conflicts will be there. You have to resolve those conflicts by win-win situation rather than extending the conflicts. The project management, of course, what I told you about the engineering block, what we are bringing, that's a great project management that we are doing. Implement employee involvement strategies, coach and train peers and subordinates. This is very, very important. As a leader, you should not leave a vacuum when you leave that place. You should train people working under you to be leaders after you. That is very, very important thing. That's what is needed from a leader. You have to keep the flag flying high even after you. And the professional competencies, adult learning, instructional design, rapid design, consulting, and instruction. No, you will not be knowing all the things. So you need to consult. You have to know. You should know where the solution lies for a particular problem, and you have to consult those people and get the problem solved. That's another important aspect of a leader. You would have known this person, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was the Hollywood action hero. He came from a small village in Europe. He says about there are 5 rules to be successful, to be a leader. Find your vision and follow it. That is, you should have a goal in your life. If you do not have a vision, you will be drifting along the way. You won't be having a satisfactory life. You won't be happy with the way you are living. So you should have a vision. You should have a goal in your life. Never ever think small. Always think big. If you think small, you will be achieving only small and you won't be having the self-satisfaction. Always you have to think big and you have to always shoot for the stars. Third important thing is ignore the naysayers. Whenever you say you want to be like this, I want to be an IAS officer, there are hundreds of people to say that from this village, how can you become a IAS officer? How can you become a successful politician with your family background? This type of naysayers are always there. But if you listen to them, you are not going to progress. So don't listen to, I don't think it can be done. I think it is impossible. One fine day you will realize that whatever the naysayer said was your liability actually as an asset. Ignore naysayers. That's very, very important. And the fourth one is work your butt off. It's not just having a dream, having a goal, having talking big. You have to work hard to achieve whatever you goal you have set for that, whatever ways are there, you have to relentlessly work for that. No pain, no gain. And finally, don't just take, give something back. If you were becoming a big and big, you will be learning a lot. You will be earning a lot. Learn and earn. Both the things are there. Whatever you learn, you give back to others. You teach them what to do and what not to do. If you earn a lot, give to the society, something back to them, because the society only gave you. So always helpful to the society. That is one of the important things for a leader. If you look back, you will see there are millions and millions of people who need your help. We all can create change, whether it is in our neighborhood or in our local schools, because the bottom line is it is up to us to help the society. So have a vision, think big, ignore naysayers, work your butt off, and give back and change the world. Because if it is not us, who? If not now, when? Change the world. Your struggle, develop your strength. When you go through hardship and decide not to surrender, that is strength. Never stop believing. These are the words, living philosophy of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, follow these 5 rules, come good in your life, give back to the society. Thank you very much. Now it is open to questions. I won't say questions, discussion. Whatever you want to discuss, we can have another plenty of time we have for discussion. Whoever wants to talk, ask anything, just unmute yourself and identify